Time to talk Peach Bowl. Arizona State, a 13.5-point dog against the Texas Longhorns. Over under in this game, 52.5. Guys, horrific matchup for Arizona State. Could not have drawn a worse matchup. Jordan Tyson already out for the year. It's going to be very hard for the receivers to find space. I love Cam Skattebo, but Arizona State has not played anything close to a defensive line like this. Vernon Broughton, Alfred Collins in the middle. Arizona State, you look at their schedule, you look at the rest of the Big 12. They just haven't seen an animal like this. And we've seen throughout the quarterfinal, or throughout the first round, that it's really hard to beat really good teams when they're focused and playing for a lot. And I just think Texas doesn't let Skattebo top 50 yards here. I think they'll get creative, try to find ways to get him the ball in space, throw the ball to him, figure out some stuff. Texas is too good up front. And this just screams bloodbath to me. If you didn't like blowouts this weekend, do not watch this game.
The funny like storyline, big picture about this game is you have the Big 12 champion against the team that nearly killed the Big 12 a couple of times. You can imagine the Big 12 office is probably would never be more happy with a game more than if Arizona State ended up winning this game. You leave the conference, you lose.
They shouldn't watch this game.
The one matchup I'm looking for is the other side of the ball, which is, can Arizona State stop Texas's run game? If you cannot stop Texas's run game, you are cooked. That's what happened to Clemson. It's what happened to Texas A&M. It's what happened to quite a few teams. Basically, Georgia completely shut down Texas's run game twice, and that's why they won those games. Texas's offensive line is banged up here. Kelvin Banks Jr. did play against Clemson, played well, but the right tackle, Cam Williams, and the center, Jake Majors, were out. So did running back Travion Wisner. Sark said Wisner and Majors could have returned. Cam Williams, we don't know. But if that offensive line is banged up, and this is where having the bye can be an advantage, maybe Arizona State's going to have to stop the run, because if you can't, you're done. And to me, that's where this game starts.
I just think it's a coin flip of what you do with Texas's offense, but the other side of the ball, Arizona State is not going to be able to do anything. Like, if they score more than 13 in this thing, I'll be shocked. Dan, what's your feel for this one?
David, you and Chris hit most of the talking points. I mean, I think this Arizona State team, they're just completely outmanned. Offensively, I mean, Cam Skattebo has been phenomenal all season long, and he's got a great opportunity because he did say after the Big 12 championship that he's the best running back in the country. So he's got an opportunity to put his money where his mouth is. But at the end of the day, he's going up against a front that this offensive line, Cam Skattebo, they've never seen a team like this before. I mean, Sam Leavitt, he's going to be going against the number 1 pass defense in the country. Skattebo in this run game, they're going against the number 13 rush defense in the country. Like, again, they're not equipped to win this kind of game. Now, I'm not going to say it's impossible for them to win this game, but when you look at the matchups, when you look at, statistics, the teams, who they've played, the competition they've played against, who they've beat, like, Texas really, really outshines this Arizona State team. So I think it's going to be really hard for them to stop them, first of all, and then to put up enough yards, put up enough points to compete with this Texas team.
I want to say something real quick about Sam Leavitt, but I got to acknowledge, we had a podcast, the last one, where we were complimentary of Cade Klubnik, and David Ubben wasn't here to actually talk about it. Dave, Klubnik,
the man
your
cooked.
Boy.
I'm sorry, the man cooked. He rallied him. He just needed one more defensive stop. He couldn't get it.
He played well in that game. And so can Sam Leavitt get up for that? It really hurts not having Tyson, one of your top receivers in this game. But as I think about this, I just think, what is the recipe for Arizona State to win this game?
I don't know. No, I don't see the upside at all.
There's a few. Look, here's the thing. I know you picked Texas to win the national championship. They are not a perfect team. They have flaws.
But I just think it's the best possible matchup for them.
But the matchup I see is Arizona State first stops the run. We'll see if they can do that.
I think that's possible. That's possible.
It's possible. The offensive line's banged up. We'll see. 2, you get a turnover or 2 from Quinn Ewers in a really bad spot.
We've seen those.
Is possible. And 3, also, you're able to get some explosive plays from Skattebo by using him in different ways. In the slot,
they got to use Leavitt's legs, too.
You got to use Leavitt's legs. And also, if Texas isn't finishing drives. Texas, under Sark, they struggle in the red zone. They're 50th in the country in red zone touchdown percentage. If they're not finishing those drives in the end zone, keeps Arizona State hanging around. That is the path. If you're Arizona State, those are the things you need to have happen. Not have a Kevin Jennings and throw 2 pick sixes, or not be in Indiana and throw an interception in the red zone on your first drive. Any of those types of mistakes, and Arizona State's done. So
I still think it just comes down to like, what is we do our pick segment. We don't really do a lot of exotic picks, but I'd like to know what the Arizona State team total is. If it's over or close to 17 or 20, I mean, that's like the best bet of the weekend for them to go under. Look at this. So look at the schedule. Wyoming, Mississippi State, the softest team in the SEC. Texas State on the road, at Texas Tech, Kansas, Utah, at Cincinnati. They lost that one because they had Jeff Sims. They didn't have Sam Leavitt. At Oklahoma State, UCF, at Kansas State, BYU, at Arizona, Iowa State. Who's the best defense they put in there? Maybe Iowa State, maybe Utah.
Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State or Utah probably.
And to be fair, they did put up like 40-something points against Iowa State.
That was a weird
result.
Roll them. That was a weird result. But yeah, I just think that Texas is just such another animal from any of those teams that they've played that, again, if they obviously weren't close to getting an at-large bid, but like people want to talk about soft schedules with SMU, soft schedules with Indiana. Like this is like a whole nother deal, and I think ultimately like this is just not that road that you say. I think produces a close game, Chris. I don't know if it produces an Arizona State win.
Yeah, I'm just talking about, can you be competitive? Like what is the path? You get some things to go your way because SMU took itself out of what could have been a competitive game by its own mistakes. So like
basically,
that's
for it to be competitive, Arizona State needs to land on the right side of about 4 coin flips. Good luck.
Well, just start by not beating yourself. I think Chris said it perfectly.
That's true.
Regardless of if you're a team that's outmanned and outmatched, you have to start with not beating yourself. SMU did it. Indiana did it. Clemson at times did it. So you can't even stay in a game. You can't even make yourself competitive if you beat yourself. Like you have to make the other team beat you. That's the only chance Arizona State has. Like Chris said it, so I don't want to beat a dead horse. But if Arizona State has one or two of these uncharacteristic turnovers where we're looking at them like, oh man, Arizona State, Sam Leavitt, Cam Skattebo, they're great, but they've just never been here before. If they have a couple of those type of plays, Texas runs them out of the building. But if you don't beat yourself, and to Chris's point, Texas might have a turnover or two here or there. They may have another lineman go down. As long as you're not beating yourself, you're always going to be in it until the score just gets out of hand. You know?
Yeah. All right.
This is this is a very confident Arizona State team too. Like they feel themselves like they believe that they can do this. I think it's pretty clear SMU was rattled by the stage of being in that moment twice, really, kind of against Clemson too at the beginning. I don't know if Arizona State will be rattled by the stage necessarily. They just may not have the horses, but I think they're up for the Sam Leavitt's a Michigan State transfer. He's played in some big stadiums.
I don't know if this is going to be sold out. I feel like this is one where you might have like 80% filled.
I don't know.
Texas fans are not going to be flooding to Atlanta. That's a long way for Arizona State fans. It's a big game for them, but like the spread is what it is. I don't know. I think there'll be some empty seats. I think this will be the least attended quarterfinal, but we'll see.
I mean, by the way. Extra motivation from Arizona State. I just learned this today. Couldn't tell you all their names, but 6 players currently on Arizona State's roster started their careers at Texas. A little bit of extra motivation.
That's right. They hammered that when they went to the Big 12 championship because they had Rashad Samples there. He's now at Oregon, I think, and Bryce Carrington, guys who were with TCU with Sonny Dykes for a bit. Arizona State's been making a big push to recruit in the state of Texas. The Big 12 championship game was an opportunity to do that, and they did it. I'm sure they will here. I mean, you can be sure if Arizona State stuns the world, Kenny Dillingham's first phone call is to some Texas high school player to be like, you got to come to us now.
100%. Well, Chris, do you believe in your coin flips? Will you take Arizona State in the points?
No, I'm picking Texas. I'm just saying, like, I didn't want us to just be here and crap on Arizona State this whole podcast. I think there is a
which
path.
David was trying to do, by the way.
No,
he was trying to do it.
I like Arizona State. They're a really good team. They're a really fun team. Just a horrific matchup for them. They could have drawn like maybe a worse team for them. Like that really is built to stop the thing that they do best, and they don't really have a lot of answers for it. So it's not about Arizona State. But I think it's a really good team. Love Kenny Dillingham. Just a bad matchup. Dame, are you taking the Horns, laying the points? All right. I'm actually going to take Arizona State outright to win this game. Horns big. This is like a 41 like
Bevo.
By the way,
not good.
By the way, this is the 1:00 Eastern game on New Year's Day. The Fiesta Bowl, the Penn State Boise game, is the New Year's Eve game. We may have another situation like the playoff where the first 2 games are blowouts that everybody freaks out about the whole layout of the playoff.
I'm so tired. Well, yeah, we'll get it.
We're gonna get to that, and we're gonna get to that at the end over the break here. But just remember the order of the games here. We may start the quarterfinals with 2 more blowouts, and that would be kind of annoying. I hope it doesn't happen.